When will we get the pool scene? When will we get the pool scene? We finally got the pool scene with two literal cousins effing each other. Are you guys satisfied now? Vegas Pete, however, what a roller coaster ride of emotions. I do not ever want to get off this ride, and I want season 2 to be dedicated to them and KinnPorsche storyline. Hello my lovelies, this is BL Fan Edits and today is my last spoilers video for KinnPorsche the series. I never imagined that this day would come so soon. I really don't want to say goodbye yet, but the silver lining is that we might be getting a season 2, so that is something to look forward to. Do you know how sexy you are? Kill me now because I can't handle the killing of this couple. It's too much for this dead heart. Also, the way Vegas affectionately turns Pete towards him to appease him after he called him a fool for being innocent and honest was so sexy. Porsche is back at the main house, but his motives for coming back are different this time. Porsche is shook after he saw the old photo of his parents with KinnPorsche and he wants to find out more about it. Hence why he has gone back to the main family's house. Kinn is completely oblivious of the turbulent emotions Porsche is going through right now. Back at the safe house, Vegas is busy preparing a southern-inspired feast for his sweetheart Pete. Pete is from the south, so he likes eating spicy foods and thinks that a meal is not complete without rice. So Vegas is putting his whole Vegasy into making a delicious-looking meal for Pete. I love how relaxed and excited he looks here. He's already a changed man and he doesn't even know it. You can see that the amount of chili is huge and it's bothering him, but he still continues to make the dish because it's what Pete likes and he would do anything to make Pete happy. I also know that there is a guilt factor here. Vegas realizes that what he's doing with Pete is not right. Keeping your loved one captive is not the right way to go about starting a new relationship. But he's also afraid that if he releases Pete, then Pete might leave him forever. So he's trying to make Pete happy within his capacity. As Vegas was bringing the meal to Pete, KinnPorsche, the most evil dad I've ever seen in my life, barges in and flings the plate, which crashes on the floor, scattering its contents all over the floor. Vegas is heartbroken in this moment and feels instant defeat. Khan curses Vegas's mother and calls him bad things, which I don't even want to recall because it hurts my heart so much. When Khan says that Vegas shouldn't be his son, Vegas is saddened hearing that and he retorts saying, "Do you think I want to be your son?" As soon as Khan hears this, he's raging with anger. He turns his ring inside so as to hurt Vegas even more. When he slaps him and then smacks him hard across the face, I've never seen a father use this much force when hitting his own flesh and blood. It's like he was hoping that the slap knocks Vegas out. I just wish that this evil man dies a painful death in the next episode. Vegas is beside himself right now. All the work that Pete did to bring Vegas out from the darkness is all diminished in this moment, and all Vegas sees right now is red, and he needs Pete immediately to vent out and bring him back to his senses. Pete, on the other hand, is going through his own internal crisis right now. He loves Vegas, but he has lost his sense of hope and purpose by just staying inside the room all the time. Tell me guys, even though you love your partner to death, can you still stay with them if they keep you shackled in a room? You can only love a person if you love yourself first, and Pete is losing that love for himself. He feels embarrassed and ashamed to be used by Vegas like an emotional support dog all the time. When Vegas enters the room, Pete still tries to comfort him, but everything that Pete says is annoying Vegas. Vegas has already been made to feel like a loser by his father just a minute ago, so Pete asking Vegas to give up himself to the main family just adds more salt to his wound. Vegas grabs hold of Pete's neck and tries to choke him. He's not using much force here because he obviously doesn't want to hurt Pete, but just his action is enough to let Pete know that Vegas still doesn't think of him as his lover, as a person who is equal to him. Vegas thinks of him as a pet, which is not acceptable to Pete. Vegas brings out a knife to threaten Pete, but Pete is having none of it. He has never been scared of Vegas's empty threats, and this time Pete decides that enough is enough and he needs to go. Pete grabs the knife from Vegas's hands and squeezes his hands hard on the knife, blood gushing out from his hands. Vegas is horrified looking at Pete like this. He immediately raises his hands in defeat and begs Pete not to hurt himself. There is pure terror on Vegas's face as he looks into Pete's determined eyes. Vegas keeps apologizing to Pete and begging him not to hurt himself, but Pete is unwavered. Vegas asks Pete repeatedly not to leave him and that he needs Pete in his life, but Pete is done being a punching bag for Vegas. Vegas asks Pete to promise him that when he releases Pete, Pete will not leave him. Vegas uncuffs Pete, but as soon as he does that, Pete hits him with the handcuffs and knocks him out and then runs away. Thanakun, the only voice of reason in this house, is worried for his baby Pete. He's convinced that Pete is dead because he confirmed with Pete's grandma and he's not in the village. Thanakun holds a funeral for Pete. This is the adaptation of Pete's funeral scene in the novel. I much prefer this scene than the novel scene because it is hilarious and adorable. Thanakun really cares for his bodyguards Pete, Arm and Pole and treats them like his children. I found it extremely hilarious when Pete appears from behind all the smoke and the first thing Arm and Pole do are push Thanakun towards the ghost of Pete and run several steps behind. I was laughing at that scene. Also, Tiny Porsche climbing on his daddy Kinn was so dang cute too. Pete finally returns to his home and everyone is super happy to see him. I love how they all surrounded him and hugged him tight until he couldn't breathe. Also, did you notice Porsche poked Pete first to check if he really was a person and not a ghost before hugging him? That was so cute of Porsche. When Porsche and Pete were alone, Porsche asks Pete where he was during all this time. Pete refused to tell him and made up an excuse. Porsche knows what he's saying is not true, but Porsche didn't press him, and I feel like that was very mature of Porsche to give him time and space to go back to his usual self and tell him in his own time. Pete also maintained a brave front and did not break down in front of Porsche. I feel like only Vegas has the luxury of seeing Pete break down and show his real emotions. I'm starting to realize it now that Pete has actually never shown what he really feels when he worked with the main family. He always laughed and made jokes and did his job but never showed his vulnerable side to anyone. Nor anyone cared to ask what Pete really thought or felt about certain things. Only Vegas understood him, only Vegas was able to break his walls. Kim and Che angst continues, with Kim now realizing that he did a big mistake letting Che go away from his life. Che is also trying to move on and get over his seemingly one-sided love for Kim. Kim calls Che, but Che blocks him, as he should. Kim is now hurting more than Che because the once innocent Che who followed him around and showered him with love has turned his back on him. Sneaky Kim has kept all the Polaroids of Che, which just shows how much he loves Che but couldn't express his feelings in time. On the other hand, Pete and Vegas are also hurting. I cried at the scene so much. Vegas and Pete are missing each other. Vegas has made Pete's favorite food. He keeps looking at the food and can't stop his tears from flowing. He now knows how much Pete meant to him. Without Pete, life is meaningless. Without Pete, there is no winning. Without Pete, the dark thoughts have returned. Pete is also sitting with a ramen bowl on the table. This ramen reminds him of the time he spent with Vegas. It's only this ramen that satiated him now. There is no other food that is able to curb his hunger other than this ramen. Because he has lost the love of his life and there is only one connection that still remains, and that is this bowl of ramen. Coming to our main CP, a lot going on here too. Porsche can't reveal the truth to Kinn because he wants to protect him. Kinn will definitely not take it well if he knows that Porsche is doubting KinnPorsche. And he also doesn't want KinnPorsche to know that he is suspecting him, or else KinnPorsche will take every action possible to not let Porsche find out the truth. Kinn sees Porsche talking to someone and then sneakily hanging up when he sees Kinn approaching. I am afraid Kinn is getting the wrong idea and there is silent tension between them. Porsche has brought Pouty Pete to Yoke's bar where Thanakun is doing everything in his power to cheer him up. But he doesn't know that listening to his bad singing is making Pete even sadder. Porsche sneaks behind the bar to meet Vegas. As soon as Porsche sees Vegas, he punches him hard. I say, Porsche, please punch Vegas a few more times just so we can look at how sexily he adjusts his jaw later. Only a hopeless, romantic, rich Romeo Vegas can agree to spend 5 million baht just to see the love of his life Pete one more time. Vegas agrees to help Porsche in finding out the truth of his mother and Khun because he saw Porsche's mother's photo in his dad Khun's office. The next scene will truly take your breath away. The pool scene did not take my breath away. I mean, it was mind-blowing, but this scene which is coming next just made my heart skip beats. And it goes to show that what attracts us as viewers in the end is the emotional intensity of the couple and not just the physical intensity. Pete has come out for a smoke when suddenly Vegas appears offering to light his cigarette for him. Pete is shocked seeing him and points the gun at Vegas. Vegas grabs the gun and turns Pete around, basically back hugging him. I know this scene was emotional, but this action was kind of hot, not gonna lie. Vegas's hand is on Pete's neck, gripping his neck and apologizing to Pete. The familiar sensation surges inside Pete, making him rage again, and he headbutts Vegas, pushing him away. Vegas knows that Pete is hurting right now. He can see Pete's walls breaking and his anger starting to crumble. This gives confidence to Vegas and he feels relief that Pete also loves Vegas as much as he loves him. When Vegas asked Pete to shoot him but Pete couldn't do it, I felt a pain in my heart. Pete has finally accepted his feelings towards Vegas and they both break down in each other's arms. We all breathed a sigh of relief when this happened, and the show is really over for me here. Let's just skip everything and see how Pete is ruling the second family while Vegas is on Venice's diaper duty. Kidding. We have our OG CP KinnPorsche to think about. Kinn is determined to take the title of the best boyfriend in the history of the BL world. Hate to disappoint you, Kinn, you are the second best boyfriend in the BL world. The first title has already gone to our Sojun from 2 My Star. Kinn takes Porsche to Porsche's parents' graves where Porsche officially introduces him to his parents. This whole interaction was adorable. Porsche acting all shy in front of his dead parents was adorable. Kinn giving a whole speech about his love for Porsche was adorable. Kinn kissing Porsche on the cheek was adorable. Porsche rubbing that kiss, then kissing his hand and placing that hand on Kinn's cheek was freaking hot. How can this man be so effortlessly sexy? Honestly, it's Porsche's world and we are just living in it. You know what comes next, right? The long-awaited pool scene. Can I be really honest with you guys? Promise me that you won't hate me. I wish this pool scene came after a little angst, like after the Tawin mission was successful. Although the scene was beautifully filmed and I did get all excited and my heart fluttered watching them, I just wish there was more drama surrounding this scene. Like for example, Kinn is super jealous of Porsche talking to Vegas at the swimming pool that day. So he takes Porsche savagely from behind in the pool and Porsche is moaning in pleasure while Kinn is biting his ears and shoulders and licking his armpits. I started writing my own fanfic there for a second, sorry about that. I love the pool scene, I just wanted more passion and less romance, if that makes sense. Porsche's bussy is so good it knocks Kinn out cold. He's passed out while Porsche chats with Vegas about their next move. In the morning, Porsche leaves a note for Kinn that he needs to find the truth about something and that he will be back soon. Porsche takes Jay with him and drops him off at his friend's house. Seeing Porsche and Vegas on the bike like this, I can't help but feel like this is an iconic ghost ship that will always remain in my heart. I will not mind even one bit if Vegas and Porsche get together in some alternate universe, because they have their own unique chemistry. Porsche and Kinn meet Uncle Ati, who reveals that Porsche's parents did not die in a car accident but they were shot. As Ati was about to tell Porsche who killed his parents, he was shot and Kinn and Pete came looking after him. Vegas picks Porsche up and they ride away together. I mean, how many times Porsche will run away with Vegas right in front of Kinn's eyes? Porsche is like, oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby. In the last scene, we see Porsche is in KinnPorsche's room, pointing a gun to his head. KinnPorsche says he could never have killed Porsche's mother because she was his sister. What? What? How? Cousin love? This is not a mafia house, this is Sweet Home Alabama house. The episode ends here, but the next episode will be the longest episode yet. Will it be 2 hours? 2.5 hours? I hope they don't advertise it as the longest episode and then just give us a 1 hour 20-minute long episode. I expect it to be at least 2 hours long. Long time ago, KinnPorsche had a meeting with Athena where he asked Athena to hand over Porsche and Che to him. KinnPorsche was tired of Athena's gambling habits and did not trust Athena to take care of Porsche and Che. KinnPorsche believed that he could take better care of Porsche and Che, and so he devised this plan with Athena so that Porsche comes to stay in the main house and brings Che with him, and KinnPorsche can fulfill the promise he made to his sister, Porsche and Che's mother. Porsche's father was shot right in front of his eyes when he was a kid. He was then quite shocked, so he had to take medicines for a year, which led to all his bad memories disappearing. In the flashback, we see that Porsche's mother was known as Honey by the main family. Honey was very loved by grandfather Egong and Hia Kon. Kon supported Porsche's father, and Porsche's father was doing business under the family name. One day, KinnPorsche and Porsche's father are having an argument when Porsche's father is saying that he's tired of doing business under Tirapanyakun name. He wants to do a normal business and live a normal life with his family, but KinnPorsche is not agreeing to it. As KinnPorsche and Porsche's father Pat were talking, KinnPorsche rages inside and starts hitting Pat and called him names. Pat tells KinnPorsche that he knows Khan has been in love with Honey since a long time, but Grandpa Egong was against this relationship, and Honey also did not like how Khan thought of her as someone who is not a sister but someone else. Khan is extremely jealous of Pat and hates him. Honey is actually not a biological daughter of Grandpa Egong but an adopted daughter. So you all can rest easy, Ken and Porsche are not cousins. It was KinnPorsche who killed Porsche's father in jealous rage, and everything KinnPorsche did to cover up their deaths was to protect his brother Khan. Khan killed Pat and took Honey and little Porsche along with him. Porsche, on the other hand, had escaped and was nowhere to be found. A week after Pat's death, Honey found herself trapped in a secret room in the main house. Khan also took away Porsche from her and gave him to the nanny. Khan brutally assaults Honey that leaves her hopeless. Honey ultimately takes pills and dies of suicide. Before Honey took her life, she asked Khan to promise her that no one from the second family ever bothers her children, and Khan should give the children to Ati and keep a watch on them and take care of them. Khan fulfilled that promise. All this drama unfolds when second family had entered the main family's house to attack them. After the truth is revealed, Khan points the gun at Khan, but Pichan is quick and takes the gun from him. Khan ultimately kills his own brother Khan. KinnPorsche then says, "Rest in peace, I will take care of Vegas and Macau." Vegas couldn't believe what has happened. Although he never liked his father, Khan was still his father. Vegas sobs uncontrollably and runs outside to get in his car. As he's driving away, Pete follows him, but Vegas gets into an accident and goes into a coma. This is when Pete surrenders his position in the main family and decides to go to second family because they have no one left. Pete is now in hospital taking care of Macau and Vegas and also dealing with second family's business matters. He has not once left Vegas's side, although Vegas is in coma. Members of the main family also visit the hospital from time to time. Meanwhile, it was revealed that Khan's girlfriend gave birth to a baby and ran away. This is when Pete decides to adopt the baby with Vegas. Vegas wakes up after a month in coma and is happy to see Pete by his side. He's initially reluctant to accept Venice as his brother, but Pete was too attached to Venice at this point. So Vegas decides to legally adopt him, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. The next episode is going to be super exciting. Please leave your thoughts about this episode in the comment section below, and I will see you all soon with a new video. Bye.